Good morning, this is Eleanor Ainge-Roy bringing you the main stories and must-reads on Thursday the 12th of October. Top stories: the Spanish Prime Minister, Mariano Rajoy, has asked the Catalan government a simple question that may have a very complicated answer: have you declared independence, or not? On Tuesday evening, the Catalan president, Carles Puigdemont, said while the referendum this month had given his government a mandate to create a sovereign republic, he would suspend the effects of the independence declaration for a few weeks to give both sides a chance to talk. But the move has been met with confusion and frustration from Madrid, and Rajoy has refused to rule out taking the unprecedented step of suspending the region's autonomy and imposing direct rule from Madrid. Rajoy also rejected calls for the dispute to be mediated by external partners, insisting the Catalan question remained a domestic matter. The cabinet has agreed this morning to formally require the Catalan government to confirm whether it has declared independence after the deliberate confusion created over whether it has come into effect, he said in a television address on Wednesday. If Mr. Puigdemont demonstrates a willingness to respect the law and re-establish institutional normality, we could bring a close to a period of instability, tension and the breakdown of coexistence. Anastasia Palaszczuk's Labour government in Queensland is in front of its Liberal National Party rivals, with One Nation polling 13%, the latest Guardian Essential poll finds. The coming Queensland election will be a key marker of One Nation's performance and will be closely watched given its federal implications and the number of marginal federal seats in the state. The poll also suggested that Nick Xenophon Group was attracting 18% of the vote in South Australia before Xenophon revealed his decision late last week to return to state politics to contest the state election next March. Sexual harassment allegations against Harvey Weinstein continue to mount after his wife announced she was leaving him, and his most powerful allies, including Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama, expressed disgust at his actions. Georgina Chapman, co-founder of the Marchesa luxury brand and the mother of two of Weinstein's children, said she was ending her 10-year marriage to the producer. "My heart breaks for all the women who have suffered tremendous pain because of these unforgivable actions." Weinstein said he understood his wife's desire to separate. In an article for The Guardian, the actor Elie-Écoute Seydoux has told for the first time of having to fight off Weinstein's advances in a Paris hotel room. Meanwhile, Ben Affleck has apologized for groping the actor Hilarie Burton during an appearance on MTV's Total Request Live in 2003. Burton criticized Affleck on Twitter shortly after he had released a statement condemning producer Weinstein for alleged acts of sexual harassment and abuse. Labour has released a policy to address the potential risks of flammable cladding in Australia in the wake of the Grenfell fire in London. Labour will create a national licensing scheme for builders and installers, and a new penalties regime for people who breach the National Construction Code, as part of efforts to boost fire safety standards in buildings. The Labour leader, Bill Shorten, says the current regulatory and enforcement regime is broken, and national action is needed to improve compliance with the building code, including toughening up penalties. A British woman and 3 Australians have been briefly detained by vigilantes, amid mass panic in Indian-administered Kashmir over a spate of alleged braid choppings. Police in the Himalayan region say they have reports of at least 40 instances of women's hair being forcibly cut by unidentified assailants. The incidents have sparked mob violence and mass protests, and some young women in the region say they are too afraid to leave their homes. The first alleged incidents were reported the southern districts of the disputed state but have now spread to its capital, Srinagar. Police are at a loss to explain the alleged crimes but have doubled the reward for information about the culprits to ₹600,000, £7,000. Sport Australia has retained the Constellation Cup with a victory over New Zealand last night in Adelaide. The Diamonds beat the Silver Ferns 5,543, with Australia now leading the series 30, with 1 game to play. Nick Kyrgios has been stripped of his first-round prize money and fined an additional $10,000 after his controversial retirement after losing the first set in the Shanghai Masters. Kyrgios had become increasingly unhappy with the umpire Fergus Murphy. He later blamed a stomach bug but did not seek medical help on court. Thinking Time: Donald Trump with NBC News correspondent Katie Tur on the golf course at his Trump International Golf Links in Aberdeen, Scotland. Photograph: Carlo Allegri. Reuters journalist Katie Tur's new book, Unbelievable, covers the ever-deepening weirdness that developed between her and Donald Trump during the 2016 campaign. In this extended extract, her recounts the bizarre nature of her first interview with the future president and his changeable mood and word salad. Trump Tower is a black, mirrored skyscraper that takes up half a block. The main entrance is campy, with an old-fashioned clock and white-gloved doorman in tails and gold-trimmed hats. More Disney than Dakota. Hope Hicks appears, smiles, and gives us a 2-minute warning. Trump is on his way. Don't look nervous. Josh Frydenberg, the energy minister, signaled on Monday that the government will abandon the clean energy target. It confirmed that the chance of bipartisan energy legislation passing before the next election went to zero. But Simon Holmes, a court writes that polls show that Australians, regardless of their political stripes, want more renewables, and argues that the economic case for them has been won and the shift to clean energy is locked in. Greg Jericho reads between the lines of the IMF's latest global economic forecast, where it tackles stubbornly low wages growth across all advanced economies with surprisingly radical suggestions. In an era of highly flexible employment with increasing levels of part-time work, governments need to protect and extend minimum wages and also look at changing unemployment benefits to acknowledge that the era of full-time work being standard is in the past. What's he done now? Donald Trump has ramped up his war with the news media, suggesting that it might be appropriate to challenge the license of NBC News in response to what he claimed was its fake news. With all of the fake news coming out of NBC and the networks, at what point is it appropriate to challenge their license? Bad for country, Trump tweeted overnight. Fake at NBC News made up a story that I wanted a tenfold increase in our U.S. nuclear arsenal. Pure fiction, made up to demean. NBC CNN Media Roundup. Fairfax Media reports that a hacker codenamed Alf stole commercially sensitive information about a number of Defense Force projects, including the $14 billion Joint Strike Fighter program. The NT News front page is devoted to a horse that has been shot with a bow and arrow in a sickening attack in Darwin. And the ABC talks to a US academic who has attacked Australia's plan to have NAPLAN English writing tests marked by a robot, beginning next year. Coming up today is the last day of citizenship hearings at the Court of Disputed Returns in Canberra, with submissions from One Nation Senator Malcolm Roberts being heard. The stakes of the case can be read here. Services will be held to commemorate the 15th anniversary of the Bali bombings, which killed 202 people, including 88 Australians. Supporting The Guardian. We'd like to acknowledge our generous supporters who enable us to keep reporting on the critical stories. If you value what we do and would like to help, please make a contribution or become a supporter today. Thank you. Sign up if you would like to receive The Guardian Australia morning mail to your email inbox every weekday. Sign up here.